Let's have some fun with arrows. This week's activity, I want you to create some stencils in the shape of arrows. So you'll need some cardboard, some shapes that you can trace around that are round or square, a pair of scissors, a pencil, and a ruler or some sort of straight edge. Get started by tracing some guidelines on your cardboard, a horizontal line and 2 vertical lines. And then I want you to do a large size arrow and a small size arrow. I used a ruler so that I could measure, and I made my big arrow 12 centimeters long and the small one 6 centimeters long. So my small arrow was half the size. And then I used symmetry to help me make my arrow as even as I could. You don't need to make your arrows so precise or exact, but if you like to measure and practice these skills, you can. Remember, when cutting things out of a larger piece of paper, first do a rough cut just around the outside so that they're easier to handle. And remember, don't turn your scissors, turn the object that you are cutting so that you can easily cut along the lines and edges. There you go, 2 arrows, one large, one small. If you don't have a ruler, you can just use the edge of the cereal box if you have one, and you can cut it in half and then cut one of the halves in quarters and use that as a guideline as well to make a large size arrow and then a smaller size arrow that is half the size. So again, building up your knowledge of fractions. Since you're thinking about ecosystems, I thought a change of scenery might be good. And this gives me a chance to show you my handy dandy traveling easel that I made out of a cereal box. I seem to have an excess of cereal boxes. But if you open up your cereal box and get some tape or a stapler, you can kind of fashion a little container and then again, get some tape and stick it to your window, and you can create artwork and catch a view of outside at the same time. Here we are, ready to go. One option you might choose is to use your arrows to create a composition that you could use as a diagram. Maybe you want to organize living and non-living things that you see outside of your window. You can lay out the shapes and fill the space on your page any way you wish. It can be really organized like this, like a pattern, or it can be more organic. So here's one way of using your arrows to create a diagram composition. Or thinking more about what you are learning and inquiring into in mathematics, you could use your stencils that you created to design a composition that is symmetrical. So anything that you do to one side of the page, you need to be sure that you do on the other side and make it balanced. This takes great observation skills. When I created this composition using my arrows, I was looking out my window at my favorite flowering trees and also thinking about the effects of the sun. But I wonder how much more creative you can be, filling the shapes and spaces with colors and materials of your choice. When you respond to this activity, on page 2, there is a checklist to help you think about your learning and communicate what you were inspired by. On page 1 of the template, be sure to upload a really clear quality photo of your final artwork. And most important, have fun being creative with arrows.